Alright, hello guys, how's it going? I am very excited to announce that we have pretty much a cooldown on the way. There is some things that could change, I'll talk about that later on, but it looks like it's very likely that within the medium to short range, we should see a flip in the pattern that will bring colder air into the central and eastern United States, and it might even last pretty long into October as well. We'll talk about all these things within this video. Now, before I get straight into this video, be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. For today's comment of the day, I want to know, do you think October will be a colder month or a warmer month overall? Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Now, let's get straight into this very exciting video. In my opinion, I've been really waiting for a big cooldown. I think, early in September, sorry, I almost said October. In early September, we started out a little bit cool, but it didn't last very long into the month because we saw a big flip where the cold went west. We saw a negative PNA, which basically means cold out west, and that encouraged the warmer air to build in the east. And we've been dealing with a summer-like September ever since. We're already at the 17th of September, and I would say a majority of the month by this point has been warm in the eastern half of the country. Now, I think that's going to change by about the 21st, so that is pretty short range considering, again, we're at the 17th, so not that many days have to go by. This is a pretty short to medium range outlook here today. Here's the temperature forecast, the high temperature forecast for today, Friday, September 17th. As you can see, mostly mid to upper 80s. There is some mid to upper 70s around, and even 60s up there for the very far northern areas like Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, and then even we see some of that for New Hampshire, maybe Massachusetts as well. I'm sure they're in Vermont and Maine as well, but those aren't even necessarily far below normal temperatures for any of those regions this time of year. Those are areas that cool down very early on compared to the rest of the United States. But by the time we're reaching the 23rd, this is Thursday, this is according to the European model, we should have lower 70s for most of these areas here in the eastern half of the country. We even see maybe some mid to lower 80s there in Florida, but again, that's an area that typically sees those temperatures even into the winter time. But we see a lot of 50s and 40s as the high temperatures for the far northern areas, mostly lower 60s for a lot of the other regions. So this is significantly colder than Friday today, just about 6 days from now or so, which is what I would call kind of like the longer end of the medium range. But the thing is, this isn't the beginning of the cooldown, this is just the peak of it that I'm showing here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the teleconnections real quick. And we expected the PNA to flip, which usually brings colder than normal conditions to the eastern United States and warmer than normal conditions to the western United States in a positive PNA. But actually, what we've seen kind of trend here on the models is a negative AO. As you can see, this stays about neutral, and then by the time we reach about, I would say, the 25th, this goes negative, and it stays negative through the beginning portion of October, or at least the foreseeable future. This encourages Arctic air to be able to make its way into the United States, no matter where the trough is. So let's say there's a positive PNA, well, it's going to go to the eastern United States in that case. So the PNA kind of steers it, the Arctic oscillation kind of controls if that is Arctic air making its way in, or if it's just kind of slightly below normal temperatures. In this negative AO, combined with a positive PNA, this would bring Arctic air to the eastern United States. Negative NAO only helps here, so we see a mostly positive NAO, and then again, by the time we reach about the 24th, 25th time frame, this goes negative as well. This encourages colder than normal conditions in the eastern United States, setting up a ridge in the Atlantic Ocean just offshore of the eastern United States, which allows a big trough to set up there. And then here's our PNA. You can see negative, and then about the 21st, this sharply goes positive, and it stays positive or neutral all the way through the end of this model run. This is the best teleconnection setup you could ask for if you want cold in the east, warm in the west. This is classic. Now, what we're going to do in a moment is move on, take a look at our 500 millibar geopotential heights to see that trough and ridge in action, and then we're going to move on to the temperature anomalies. All right, now here we are taking a look here at this is going to be Wednesday, September 22nd, and as you can see, we have a big ridge building in the west. That is our positive PNA taking place. The NAO there, I want to point this out. We can see that there is some blues out there, which is negative geopotential heights there. That's anomaly, so they're below normal geopotential heights out there near Greenland and kind of offshore of Canada. Over eastern Canada, we do have a bit of a positive anomaly there. So this isn't our negative NAO yet, but that is the beginning signs of one setting up. Those reds is indicating that, because that's a ridge building out east, and that's going to pour the cold air into the eastern United States. That combined with a positive PNA, you can see there's reds everywhere there, except for the eastern United States. It forces all the cold air straight from Canada to just go straight into the eastern United States with nowhere else to go. All of it goes there, and that's how you get your really big cooldowns. And that's kind of the setup we have here all the way to the 26th. This is when we do have a negative NAO and the negative AO. Usually those two things correlate, by the way, so it is very common to see both of those at once. What isn't a guarantee is a positive PNA at the same time, and that's what really creates an awesome setup for cold air in the east. Again, this is by the 26th, so we see this at least lasts through the 22nd to the 26th, so this should be at least a medium-term to long-term cooldown for the eastern United States. That negative NAO, by the way, is indicated there by those reds set up near Greenland in northern Canada. The AO is going to be the more northern side of that, so even further north. The AO is our Arctic oscillation, and in its positive phase, it's kind of the opposite of what you'd think. The positive phase, it has cold air and negative geopotential heights there over the Arctic Circle, and in its negative phase, it has positive heights, because what happens is if we have above normal temperatures over the Arctic, it forces the cold air to go elsewhere, and that's why it pours away into Russia, Europe, or the United States, areas like that. Now, in this case, we see it pour into the eastern United States because of the positive PNA and the negative NAO at the same time. Now, here is our temperature anomalies here. We're finally moving into what the video is actually about, and this is for day one. We can see reds in the eastern United States, blues out west. That's a negative PNA pattern, very warm in the east. And we're just going to skip all the way to the 20th here, so this is going to be Monday, September 20th. We see those really cold temperature anomalies there over the Rockies, the northwest as well. Still the reds in the east by the time we reach the 20th. But by the time we reach the 21st, you can see this begins to make its way east. We see the west coast warm up. That is our positive PNA building in, and that's going to force that cold air to head further and further east. Now, by the time we reach the 22nd, you can see this reaches the central United States. This is going to come as a very strong cold front. And as you can see, the western half of the country by this point is a majority warm. So this is happening very quickly. Keep in mind, we have these negative temperature anomalies here, but the negative AO and the negative NAO has not set in yet. Remember, that's happening around the 25th, 26th, and you got to give it 1 day lag. So that's still on the way after this point. This is just the PNA switching, so there is more and more to come. So what we're going to do in a moment is move on, take a look at some days here in the future, and then we're going to take an extended look according to our CFS model as well. All right, now here we are taking a look at the 23rd. That's going to be Thursday, September 23rd. And as you can see, I would say even the western 2/3 of the country are warmer than normal by this point. And then the eastern third of the country is below normal. You can see it's becoming a little bit more potent with those greens showing up. That's 10 to 15 degrees below normal. Keep in mind, we had that below normal temperature pattern set up around September 1st through September 4th, maybe, or so. I'm trying to remember how long it was. It was a while ago, but it was something like that. Our average temperatures have gone down probably by about 5 degrees by now, depending on where you're at. It could be 7, it could be 3 or whatever, or maybe even just 2. But regardless, these below normal temperatures are compared to your normal at the time. So this cool down, this below normal temperatures, is going to bring even colder temperatures than that one that happened in the very beginning of the month. That should be obvious, but I'm just letting you guys know, of course. Here we are by the time we reach the 24th of September, and as you can see, that cooldown is now over the eastern United States. That positive PNA out west is very strong, by the way. It's almost borderline a heat wave, but I don't know how widespread the 90s are going to be for 3 days plus. That's what you need for a heat wave, 3 days in a row with 90s plus. I know there will be some upper 80s and 90s along the western coast there, California, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Nevada, there, even some of the Four Corner states. It's going to be very warm, very hot in some places as well out west. So I'm not exaggerating when I say it's going to be hot out there. It's going to be cold in the eastern United States, especially at night, obviously. But this is the cooldown we're dealing with. By the time we reach the 25th, this is right around when that NAO and AO are going negative here. And this model kind of begins to taper off with the colder temperatures. I think what's going on is, even in these deterministic models, it does have multiple members. I think there's some disagreement happening here in this longer range outlook, but we do see still some of the blues over the eastern United States. We see some yellows show up, but still some blues for the most part here by the time we reach the 26th. but that's when that negative NAO and AO should be setting up, so I don't really buy it too much. Here's the CFS daily model. We're going to take a look at this in 5-day increments. First off, the 22nd through the 27th, you can see this is right when that cooldown begins, all the way till the 27th. So this is mostly just a PNA, but also shows when the negative AO and negative NAO set in. And we can see mostly colder for the eastern half of the country here and mostly warmer there for the west. But this is by the time we reach October 12th through October 17th, and it keeps that same pattern in place according to this model. So yes, this could be a very long-range cooldown that actually sticks around all the way in through, the middle portion of October. There should be, obviously, some inconsistencies there. There will be some warmer days in there. It's very hard to get a whole month almost of colder than normal temperatures. So you can expect that there will be, some warmer times and some colder times, but a majority of this time frame now through the 17th of October should be colder than normal, according to the models currently. Now, for our confidence tab, I'm extracting out that CFS part because my confidence would be a bit lower, but as far as now through about the 27th goes, so the next 10 days, our confidence is at a 5 out of 6. I have seen, some signals like this that show very cold temperature patterns that really don't pan out to be as potent. So that's why we're not at a 6 out of 5. There is still some chance that this does not happen to this degree. But our confidence is fairly high because we have all the teleconnections on the same page that would encourage colder than normal conditions in the eastern United States. For today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, which month do you think is going to be the coldest and snowiest during the winter? In eastern Iowa weather and toilets, I love that name, by the way. I can hardly wait for winter. I am thinking January will be the coldest month and February the snowiest. And I like that, getting a little different there with the answer. January the coldest, February the snowiest. And that is actually fairly possible because we typically don't see the coldest and snowiest month happen at the same month. We usually see colder when it's very cold and then there's not as much precipitation, and then when it's more decently cold, more closer to normal, we see more precipitation make its way in and more snow therefore. Good comment of the day there. For today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our Platinum patrons, John Benbeck, James Wade, Dovin Nagel, Laura LePan, and Donna Carnes, alongside our Diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harlan, Michael Kudalasa, Catbite, Charles Dennett, Cindy Klein, Mark J, Luke Flago, Gary's, John Colisi, Dwight Phelan, and Stephen Kernenthal. If you'd like to be a part of this very exciting Patreon page, you can, and Patreon end screen today, you can do so by joining our very awesome Patreon page in the description and in the pinned comments down below. I'd also like to thank our channel members Hair Farms 1, Catbite, Stephen Fan, and Jeremy Cox as well. If you'd like to join this one, it'll be next to that subscribe button down below. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. I'll see you guys in the next video.